my latest workshop piece, and it needs a lot of help. Check this out, Chuck said. He led Al to his computer. This guy from overseas needs someone to go in and buy a Jaguar sports car for him over in Spokane, like yesterday. He can't find anybody to do it, so he's willing to pay a bonus. This is legit. This guy is willing to give you $1,000 upon delivery because he needs this car fast. That's like double what they normally pay. You buy the car with his cashier's check, drop it off in the garage, and your money's in the bank. And he pays all your expenses. Get a hold of him and he'll transfer $500 in your account right now for motel and gas. I know guys who do this. Sounds good, Al said. It gets better. My dealer in Spokane is afraid to drive the 200 miles here to Missoula. He gets spooked going over Lookout Pass in the snow. I can't get away from work to go over myself. So you pick up my delivery for me, and I'll make sure Kathy, your wife, is taken care of. I don't need to go to jail, Al said. This is small potatoes. Nobody's watching. Weed's legal in Washington, and I only buy 3 ounces at a time anyway. Believe me, nobody has dogs out on Lookout Pass. Let me know where you're staying, leave the car door unlocked, and my guy will come by and slip it under your seat. You're killing multiple birds with one stone, buddy. Al's boss, when Al asked him for the time off, had another idea. You can repo a car for me while you're over there. This guy we sold the car to lives there now. He's 3 months behind. Since you're going over, take the car dolly, take that old Chevy pickup from the lot. Use my credit card to cover the fuel and motel. Al's mind churned with possibilities as he brought a frozen lasagna home to his family that night. He stood to clear $1,500, enough to pay his rent, catch up on the electric bill, and maybe get the cable back on. It didn't faze him to see his daughters and their live-in boyfriends playing video games on his TV. He smiled at their screaming babies. Things were gonna be all right. His 2 old labs almost knocked him over when he came in the trailer door. They need a ride, Kathy said. They've been waiting all day for their daddy. Noticing lasagna, she folded her arms and said, I'm not eating. I can't take another saucy meal. Al was aware Saucy didn't always agree with her. She'd been eating a box of Prilosec every 4 days, it seemed like. But getting home for supper at 9 o'clock at night didn't leave many choices. Last time we had Saucy was that pizza last week, Al said. You want McDonald's and Subway every night? Oh, Albert, don't be so grouchy. Did you get my medicine? Al handed her Chuck's baggie. Kathy opened it up and took a whiff. No, she said, I ain't smoking this shit. She softened, and Al went out and agreed to Al's Spokane trip when he told her there would be better weed involved. Al did his mom's sidewalks and had coffee with her before he headed over to the shop to hook up the car dolly for his trip to Spokane. Be careful, his mom said, the roads are bad. But they weren't that bad. The dolly slid around, some behind the old pickup going over Lookout. But the biggest problem was the pickup's heater, the blew lukewarm air. Al found a hunk of cardboard at the top of the pass rest stop, tucked it in around the radiator, and secured it with twine. That warmed the air a little. Concentrating on keeping the pickup and dolly on the road focused Al's mind. For the first time in a long time, he was able to think. How had he gotten to this point? Always chasing his own tail, trying to figure out how to make $1. He remembered back to when he was 18, how he took a bottle of pills, tried to do himself in when Kathy left him that time. He loved her so much. Got himself caught smoking marijuana in the military so he'd get thrown out because he couldn't handle somebody having their thumb on him all the time. Never could stand authority. That's why he still didn't have a job with benefits. He'd have to suck it up and work under some snot-nosed manager, and he tried, but he couldn't do it. Most of his jobs, including this one, he got paid in cash. Best car detailer in town and not a bad car salesman, but he'd never see Social Security. He was 49 years old. All he could do now was the best he could. His body was sore from detailing cars and his teeth were falling out, but he could take care of his family. He took care of his family. Al thought about making a regular business out of this foreign thing. Wondered why he hadn't tried it before. He had a $64,000 cashier's check folded up in his wallet, his nicest car selling clothes packed so he looked good when he purchased the Jaguar, the address for the car he would repo, and the combination for a garage he parked the car in after he made the purchase. He checked himself into the Sleepy Inn and took a nap while he waited for it to get dark so he could do the repo. Left the door of the pickup unlocked so Chuck's man could leave his stash under the seat. It was 2 o'clock Monday morning when Al's eyes flashed open at the motel. He'd been dreaming, the best sleep he'd had in years. He had to hurry, but he couldn't help filling the motel's bathtub up with scalding water and sinking in while the coffee in his room burped. He put on his slacks and dress shirt and left the motel key on the desk before he headed out. Snow had piled up 6 inches outside the motel room door. Pickup's doors were frozen shut, but he managed to break them free by heating the key with his lighter and jiggling around in the locks, giving each door a hard yank. He felt underneath the passenger seat and found the plastic baggie of marijuana underneath, left it there. He broomed off the pickup and the car dollar before heading out to find his repo. And the boss always kept a spare key for any car he sold on credit, so Al was able to get right into the old red Cavalier coupe parked outside the mobile home over on Freya Street. He'd left the pickup and dolly around the corner. He remembered detailing that particular car before it was sold. The passenger door hadn't been caved in then, but even then, it wouldn't have been worth the trouble of repossessing. The problem now was getting it to fire up. It made a mufflerless racket when Al pumped the accelerator and turned the key. The engine did kick in, and Al was thinking it sounded like a snowblower about the time he saw a big hand appear on the outside of the window. A mountainous figure of a man came into his view. Al wanted to jam the car in gear and take off, but feared he'd run the guy over. The guy kept one hand on the windshield as he opened the driver's side door with the other. He towered over the vehicle, 6.5 feet of muscle and stockiness in a shaggy jacket, with flakes of snow building up on his face, glaring down at Al. "Where are you going with my car?" Al felt the motel coffee working on his intestines. "I'm repossessing this vehicle," he said, now perfectly willing to hand this guy the keys to the car and walk away. But the man said, "I'm coming with you." "That's not usually how this works," Al said. "My girlfriend just threw me out. If you're going back to Missoula, I'm coming along." Al didn't know what to say. "Name's Bubba," the man said. "I'll have to drive. The passenger door's stuck and I don't fit in the back." "You're very drunk," Al said. "Is that a problem?" Bubba said. Al slid over to the passenger seat and watched Bubba climb in. His head grazed the headliner, and he had to duck down in order to see out the windshield as he drove. The Cavalier smoked and popped its way around the block. Al convinced Bubba to let him drive the car up under the dolly, though, stating it required technique and sobriety. And it worked out, because when he got the car halfway up the ramps and the wheels began to spin, Bubba pushed. Inside the pickup, Bubba asked Al if he had any dope. "Never touched the stuff," Al said. "You look like a man who would have some dope," Bubba said. Al found a Denny's restaurant a few blocks away from the Jaguar dealership, and not too far from the storage garage he would need to leave the car in once he purchased it. He bought them both breakfast and listened to Bubba describe his problems while he waited for the dealership to open. They agreed that maybe Al could put Bubba to work at the detail shop when they got back to the depot. That's it.